Welcome back to some more Timberborn, people. Right, you may notice a few little changes. One of which is with the audio. I've changed my mic settings again slightly. Um, Having uploaded the massive batch of them I recorded during my week off, kind of thing. Gone back through and listened to little cues as to what to call things. I wasn't actually that happy with the audio on it. There was still a little bit of a screeching noise sometimes, kind of thing. So I've dropped my mic a little bit. Yeah, you can possibly still hear the fan at the moment because it is still very hot, even though it's like a week later, and we're supposed to be having massive storms today. It's been raining a bit, whatever. Right, other things you'll notice: we have a second floor in. I got rid of the scaffolding as well. The reason why I got rid of the scaffolding was because I noticed that beavers were walking all over this section to build it rather than using the scaffolding now. So I thought, can the scaffolding get the beavers up on here? If they can build this bit across, they can finish out that little gap. The problem's going to be when they start putting in the slalom kind of thing, but they should still be able to walk that. The only problem really is going to come in when they are building the actual wheels. But we're building this bit above with the railway line, which is connected down here, which connects across from underneath here, and from over here as well, up to this top bit. So these will be connected up, go around, I'll sort of loop the perimeter kind of thing on it. And then the plan is that when we've got these central bits in, we can then build up the layers. So for each of the slaloms we can build up the layers. Other little things that have changed, I've built a little bit more storage here and there, or at least I'm in the process of doing so, because we capped out on metal for a bit. I've dropped the flow rate on the sluice sets around here, so they aim for a lower water level, which means this does fill up and lasts out full droughts and bad tides now, which is brilliant. I've added a little bit more housing and a couple more pods because we actually ran out of workers earlier for some reason. I think it's because I turned a couple off and then didn't turn them back on quick enough, but we've got a couple more in. We'll put that on there. Put another clock down over here as well, kind of thing. So that's got a bit of better coverage for beavers getting covered by these. So hopefully that works out right. I am thinking though, we've climbed up here, cut all these trees down. We're going to start putting dynamite in there and blowing up this whole hill. Because as I mentioned in a previous episode, I kind of wanted the idea of rehoming all the beavers so that I could be able to get all of the things on them. Which means that this is probably going to end up being a wasted endeavour, and we got 30 odd beavers sick because of that, because of me being stupid. That's probably going to be a wasted endeavour after a little while, because this is all going to be blown up. Now, I was watching a video the other night by a YouTuber called Crescendex. I will try to remember to link him down below, but I probably won't be uploading this for a little while after I've recorded it. Talking about megalophobia. In fact, I've watched a couple lately around that subject. Found Crescendo's has gone through video games with megalophobia, so things like Subnautica and Shadow of the Colossus. There was also another one, the Utility Room, which I really want to play. I don't have VR. It's something I've been looking into a little bit passively, but nothing major standing out to me on that. Might be something I explore down the line, maybe when the move is sorted, if that's ever sorted. Don't talk to me about the move. Hopefully by the time this episode goes up, it'll be mid-September or late September or even early October, this one, I can't remember when it is. But the move may actually have happened by that point, so fingers crossed. Right, so my idea here, though, getting back on track, is that I keep on getting megalophobia videos coming up. I can't remember if it was the Crescendex one or somebody similar. I will look it up and I will link the video if I can remember that later on. I intend on doing it. It was a good video. It's talking about like the biggest buildings ever made kind of thing in certain bits. Now, when I was a kid, I watched and actually read Blade Runner. Well, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep for the book version. And you had the ziggurats in the city. The great big sort of almost pyramid-like buildings. I'm thinking that'll be a nice way of housing everything in one mega structure over here kind of thing. So if we blow down far enough, we can spread out with tunnels and rip that out to an extent. Have some support pillars in with the dirt as well, of course, because you need that, and it won't really be getting in the way too much with a couple of pillars here and there. Then build a massive underground area with train stations and everything like that dotted here and there around it. Have all of our heavy supplies down there, so all the building materials. On an upper layer we store things like food and water. Maybe in the base layer as well, though, we have a set of swimming pools. Building ground as well, though, above that in certain places, which I believe we can just place on top of buildings. Yep. we can place on top of things. We can have things like the campfires and the motivatorium. We aim to get everything into one giant building. Now this may take a huge amount of effort, but we'll build it floor by floor so at least we have something to watch. Because I've spent a long time just sort of, well, I've left it running, gone off and done other things for a lot earlier on during today, while they built that second floor, because it wasn't anything exciting to witness. They were just doing what they're doing now. When they've got this in, it'll be a little bit more awesome. Other little things, though, that I've done. So we've still got this plan over here, slowly developing. Accidentally cut that off because of this cable, but whatever. We need to build this up, and we need to get the pipe across and around to up over here somewhere. In fact, it's about here that we need it coming in, which is going to be a pain, but is going to be very doable. It's going to be annoying, but water pressure, if we block this off, it rises. Now, I don't want to block it off just yet because we still need to produce a lot of stuff. When we've got everything stored, all our storage full kind of situation, we can effectively then turn the power off by closing that for a bit and building the pipe properly. So we're building it up quite a long way. Another idea actually may be, rather than close it off properly to start off with, I start building it but have, say, some floodgates in there. I'm also going to want to do the same kind of thing with the one over here. Now I'm thinking of building that up, coming out the back here, coming across around the back here, all the way along here, before coming up and joining this big pipe up at the top of it with a sluice gate, or two, or however many it needs, to go into the pipe. So then it'll only flow in one direction. So then it'll flow down this way and join the rest of the bad water coming in here. You can see as well, we've built a few of the sides up a little bit to get the tube line in, kind of thing. But I want to get this surface done as a priority. More stuff I've done is, well, this tunnel's a bit bigger. I cut this one down as well to help put this in. Nothing particularly special about that one, it's just getting up to the top there on that side. I maybe could and should have just done it from that one, but it's whatever. So yeah, this tunnel's going to come along. I decided to path it all the way first off, because then I don't have to quite so often micromanage things. I'm going to cut a path down here eventually so that I can join the tube network into it from there as well. More options and things. I know I don't want too many redundancies, but we'll have a look and see which ones get used the most and then deactivate the others, kind of thing. Then this will come across over to here. Now, that's going to be coming down here. That is going to cut across with power from there, from that top line there. So instead, we'll have it go up there for a tube station connection, but then we'll have it come down here to rejoin the main track. And we'll have to do something similar in this corner. Yeah, I've already planned that one, so we go round it, kind of thing, round the bottom. It's going to have to cut across there. Then this is going to come all the way across here. And then the inside line is still going to be the tube station, or the tube line. That's fine coming down here. And that's going to be the other one. This may be completely redundant, or we might totally redo it in the future. So, the good news then, effectively, is, well, I've not killed any beavers by poisoning them. When I've put some more housing in, we've got a slightly higher population and things like that. Good news is that this now works as intended. It maybe doesn't have the fastest flow. We don't need it to. It's enough to keep things green. So, as a premise, it works. And I can delete the next line of these. Nice. It gets a lot of logs because we're a bit low on logs. We are getting a little bit lag here and there just from the sheer amount of beavers and stuff like that doing things. Certain operations do not respond very well anymore. Still need to carry on putting this in. Again though, that's a bit further down the line because we need to be able to get the power up here. Depending on how well it works as well, we may want one or two of those pumps in. We'd probably have to bridge across to put the next one in though, because I'm going to put it down at this end and then the next one is in a less advantageous position there. Same kind of theory over the far side. Down this way. I could just do it the same as I've already done with the other one, But I thought I'd mess around with the power systems and have a bit of a play with things, make it a little bit different. Yeah, this still needs to go in, but I don't really want to divert anybody on a long distance journey at the moment over to here. That can wait until we're actually starting to put the tube line in, I suppose. Right, so let's have a look back. We're doing fine for food. We may want to get a bit more water storage on the go, actually thinking about it. And maybe a few more pumpers. This keeps on yo-yoing a little bit. It's not terrible, but we're going to want a lot more water anyway for the hydroponics, which we've not done yet. We do need to get them done, and I'm thinking they would go in a nice below-ground section of the ziggurat eventually. Might want to get them in beforehand, because they do offer other options on food. So other farms outside, we'll probably put food processing in the building, maybe on the floor below where everybody lives, so have them elevated. We can have some elevated campfires and rooftop terraces just above them and things like that as well. Again, though, that's a bit of a pipe dream. That's going to be a long time in the future, which I'm alright with. I know I keep on saying that during this season, but I am genuinely okay with having longer term plans. I'm really enjoying doing this series. Yeah, things can get a bit slow here and there. I mean, this has taken 10 cycles to get to here, maybe more. It's taken quite a number of hours just being passive with them, waiting for them to get done. But that's alright. I keep on saying that's alright. I also have just noticed that I can't get up there. They need to be doing that, because I think I'm going to need to come at it from both sides. I have told them to prioritise it, but then again, I think all of this is on high priority at the moment. So, nice work me! But when we get this bit in, when we get these bits in, kind of thing, we can then start placing the levees. We can get them to do the levees. They, of course, leave a gap at each end, kind of thing, for the moment. Then I'll figure out the slalom, close off the gaps where they're needed, and then put the platforms. That's the word I'm looking for. Platforms. I can put the platforms in at the ends where they don't need levees to allow free through, and then we can start building up from one end, kind of thing. We can start building up the wheels, but that may be a dangerous proposition because beavers are really, really stupid. We don't need the impermeable floor there because we want it to fall through down onto that wheel, and then it goes through that way, drops down that end onto that one, goes through the slalom, and then goes through that one into this mess here. This is going to be a bit fiddly and annoying to do. We're probably going to need more tunnels. Nobody's started on it yet, which I would like them to have done, but there's a lot of other stuff to do. In fact, just to see the sheer amount of work they've still got to do on here, they've got to build all these platforms, and they've got to start putting in the impermeable floors. And I kind of want to build it layer by layer. I've decided to go 5 layers of it. Then we should have more power than we could ever really need. Back though to the idea of the ziggurat over the other side of the map, kind of thing. Past all this. This will stop being brown completely as well, because this is going to be piped away over here. All this will be dismantled and taken apart. Cool. Yeah, so the ziggurat coming up to the top layer. All we really have on the top layer, I am thinking we might have a couple of pools dotted around actually on a top layer or level with it kind of thing, but inlaid kind of thing. The pools like the ones we've got for the farms, more thinking of that. Because at the top we're just going to have one of the stations, and we're then going to have, we might have to put a forester in kind of thing, because I want to plant some trees and berries and stuff like that and make it look a bit more natural, more like the Teletubbies home hill in a way, I suppose. You know, a bit less aggressive. But then we want to get the earth repopulator in. Now, even if we don't delete those homes, this being on top of it will keep those homes in the shadow of it. It'll give a benefit to everybody. But we want a route up to it. I think I'm going to fire them. Which way do I want to fire them? Maybe follow the river, point off in one direction kind of thing. I don't know. Yeah, that. I think that could be quite a nice mega project to do. You know, to close out this series, get that built. Because it is a finite series. I fully intend on making it a finite series. I mean, technically, the game sort of ends when you build the Earth repopulator. Can they build these ones from this side? I can't tell. Yes, they can. Okay, so I don't necessarily need those stairs in. I would just like them in. Yeah, so we should be able to build those ones across as well. That's fine. Yeah, it would be a problem going from the upper layers kind of thing. Doing that. Trying to think of what else we need. I've added a bit more mangrove storage. I could probably definitely do with adding a lot more. More coffee, more cassavas as well, more raw cassavas to go along with the massive amount of processed cassava we've got. Some more storage for canola oil, more coffee storage. And I turned off all my smelters. Because I'm smart like that. To be fair, actually, we should have plenty of metal blocks just knocking around the floor. Yeah, that's a lot of metal blocks. So that's why I turned them off. So until they're all gone, I don't really want to put the smelter back on. We're constantly yo-yoing on 33, 34. I think it's with the injuries and beavers being tired and hungry from travelling a long way over here. Hopefully the transport, or the commute will get quicker when they just use the trains. Because this is a fair way. Kind of thing. And that's to accept metal blocks, kind of thing as well. I'm gonna have to be charismatic because not much is going on at the moment. I'm gonna have to carry this episode on my own ability to present it. We are screwed. Right. Okay. So the reason why I really desperately wanted to get the scaffolding out there was because it was stopping me from building up on this layer itself. So now the fact that we can just walk on. Perfect. I can get this layer built and then I can start processing it a little bit differently. I believe through these floors, even from all the way up here, we can build the wheels. I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that is the case. If it's wrong, if I am wrong, I will have to come up with something else. Maybe train line coming across here as well, kind of thing. Because I think you can do it through one down. We'll still have to build all the way across here, the closure kind of thing, I suppose. But we'll leave that hole where the path comes in for now. That's in one of the runs, actually. The path actually is next to where some of the levees would go. Yeah, it's kind of hard to remember what I did over the course of the past week. It has been an interesting week. I'm not going to go into that because, well, I don't... Well, it's a Saturday and I get told off by my boss for thinking about work outside of work hours, because that's just something that happens a lot. Me getting told off for thinking about work outside of work hours, because I'm an idiot. Yeah, so... It's 2 away. Right. Also, why haven't they built that? I told them to build that power shaft. I'm just going to shove that on high priority. It's one log, they can just lean down and do it, I'm sure of it. We are a little bit shy on logs, despite the mega tree farm. And they are cutting. I believe. Let's have a look. They are in range. I think it must just be as soon as the trees come in, they're cut. You're a gatherer instead. Yeah, that's in range. Maybe we just need more of them around the outside. I can put in a couple there, I suppose. But then only they'll be able to do those ones. So I'll just leave it for now. we're okay. We've got 1.8 thousand. It is lower than it was before. I might want to put some more log pumpers around here, put some more water storage in. I could even blast that out a little bit. What was I going to say? I started processing this, used a lot of gears, and then decided not to, because we were actually overflowing on scrap metal. It wasn't a question of scrap metal that was the issue. In fact, we were just using up all the processed metal and we couldn't produce it quick enough. But now, of course, we've ripped this down. We're using a lot of metal again, of course. Of course we are, because these are metal floors. You know, the structures in them have metal in them. And then the impermeable floors, I believe, are metal as well. Yeah, they're just metal. So I need to get these built. It is taking a little while. This, of course, as well, is on the fastest speed setting 3 times. So it's just a sign of how big a project this is. And the ziggurat is going to be... It may not require as many materials, but it's going to take a lot more planning because it's not repetition. I've really got to think about where things are going to go to get maximum impact. If you look here, we are building, we're making decent progress on this. I mean, until I started today, I don't think we'd even finished all the wheels on ground floor. And then, of course, we've got the big challenge of making this monstrosity. Oh joy. And of course it needs to be watertight all the way, and these things have holes in them. So, I think we start building platforms here to support the things. You know what I mean. And we'll build more levees up here, which will block the entrance to the overhangs. That's the one. Overhangs. Yes. I speak good word. It is worrying that, compared to some people, I know that is the case. Not throwing shade at anybody in particular. I've just met some people who are worse at that. Yeah, I just forget everything. I just forget things. It's a bit awkward these days. I'm only 35, so I shouldn't be forgetting things quite this much. But seriously, have they worked through the night? When we get the ziggurat as well, kind of thing, up and running a bit with some of the entertainment, we can drop the working hours for a few days as well. So we'll give them the time of their lives. We'll give them like a whole cycle basically off if we can. Or maybe just a bad tide. Or a 4-day drought or something like that. Because I see the whole cycle, we'd probably run out of food. We've got over 200 beavers now. Capacity for 250 as well. It's so hypnotic though, watching everything just working. City Skylines is a great game for that, when you got the traffic flowing properly. Note that I said City Skylines, I have not got City Skylines 2. Still a bit mixed reception on that. Okay, there's a drought coming in 3 days. You'll see that this only gets down to about the level of that thing. So it starts showing that a little bit. Which is fair enough, that's about halfway. So I could maybe lift up a little bit more. I'm not going to screw around with it anymore, it works good enough. We won't need it for any power generation at all in the future, because this is going to handle everything. And because of that bad water discharge, it doesn't stop during droughts. Now, I forgot though, that's actually something different between the Iron Teeth and the Folktales again. So the Folktales have 2 different things for covering bad water sources. One of them is like one of these, just in a permanently closed state. Which means you can't force it open during droughts, for example. The other one caps it, but basically has the bad water pump on it straight away, kind of thing. So it makes it more convenient that you don't get contamination from it, basically. but you can't use it for this kind of power system. Instead, what you need is windmills. Now, I saw somebody else's idea in a YouTube short, actually. Can't remember who it was. And I tend to doom scroll a lot when I can't sleep at the middle of the night, so I will do my best to find who it was again. To whoever made that short as well, though, if you see this video in the unlikely event that you do, because I think only about 4 people will ever actually see this video, I did absolutely love your idea with it, that with power cables potentially getting in the way and being a trip up, they built platforms above all of the main paths around town. So they kept everything mainly on one level, which isn't something I often do. I like verticality. But they kept all the buildings basically on the same level, and then built platforms above to carry the power cables. Now, in there, every so often, they dotted more wind turbines. So the wind turbines were in the middle of the town, so they didn't have just a power supply district. Now, watching the latest RCE series, where he's doing the Zoo Escape one, he's built a massive array of wind farms kind of thing, because the Folktale have wind farms. So I'm just thinking, if I ever do another series of this, which I might do, I really do enjoy this, I'd be doing it as Folktales, unless the Iron Teeth get something amazing. Like, I mean, they've already got the best thing in the game, the Tubeway, and this as well, the Badwater Discharge. I did not realise how good they were until I realised the difference between them, kind of thing. I think I need to put some more breeding pulse back on as well. But yes, so we'll put on this one. Yeah, we'll leave it at 1 extra. If that number's still going down, I'll pop another one on. But yeah, so point was, the Iron Teeth got way more out of this latest update, I think, than the Folktales did. Now, I'd argue that maybe the Folktales had an advantage beforehand because of the breeding mechanic. It's a little bit harder to get into the breeding mechanic with the Iron Teeth than it is with the Folktales, because the Folktales, they just do it themselves. With the Iron Teeth, you kind of have to micromanage it a bit with the pods. You also don't get homelessness with the Folktales, other than initially or unless you delete a home, because they only breed if they've got space in the houses, which is also really handy. I suppose then they are better for introductory gameplay, and you have to unlock the Iron Teeth by playing through up to 15 with the Folktales. So here, Iron Teeth, to unlock reach average well-being of 15 while playing Folktales. There's also a couple of rumours going around from comments I've seen, but I don't know if there's any validity. I don't know if the devs have commented on this at all. There may be a third faction one day, which I would find interesting. There have certainly been a lot of modded third factions. The game stutters a little bit while autosaves there. There have been some modded third factions. RCE did Beaver Nation Street with that rather than Timberborn is. They were a little bit different. They had pink trees and stuff like that. It was quite a big overhaul on the mod. I actually don't remember that too well because it was from several versions ago. It was before like the 3D terrain stuff, and I think it was before Badwater. It was a while ago. Also, time of writing this, it's been a few days since that, but I'd like to say congratulations to RCE on 5 years with the channel, and on the reveal of Civil Draft. I haven't pre-ordered it yet being the operative word. I've been busy with something else outside of standard operations, should we say. Nothing bad, just something time consuming to an extent, and you know, it's something that's occupied my attention for a few days. Your boy's making an appearance in public, basically, the day after I'm recording this. With a long drive involved. Poor dad, dragging him around the country again. Hopefully as well, though, I'll have some other cool, outside of the normal stuff to bring later on, which I may even reveal my face. I'm guessing that everybody who's watching this knows who I am anyway, in real life. But if you don't, that might be a bit of a shock to you. Probably not a very nice one. For the people who know what I look like, they'll probably side with me on that one. Yeah, so we've nearly got the basic floor built. It then needs all of the impermeables putting on it. Oh, and they're doing something from the Tubeway as well. Nice. I mean, they should have been doing that all along, to be honest. I think they've just put in that thing. Power shaft. Yeah, they put in the power shaft. Nice. Again, it's nice to have a redundancy there just in case I need to chop and change anything. And with that as well, it's not AI picking which way it goes kind of thing. That is literally just... well, it all connects up. Speaking of AI as well, in some news around the time when I'm recording this, YouTube has basically denounced a big crackdown on AI-related content, generative AI, AI voiceovers. Now, I'm going to say I am all for that. Because I keep on hearing the same AI voice on everything, just used to fill in places, and it's starting to really... it kind of makes my teeth hurt a bit hearing it all the time. I know that won't make much sense, but it just gets to me. It's everybody's just copying from the same textbook kind of thing. I watched a couple of videos earlier as well, music-related ones from Rick Beato, I think it's pronounced as, and Liam Donovan, talking about AI music. So Rick Beato actually made up a musician. Oh, they're putting these in now. Nice. Rick Beato made up a musician, Eli something, and did a whole video just saying how terrible it was kind of thing. Now, oddly, the first song that he made using... so he used ChatGPT to come up with the identity and appearance of the musician, got the lyrics out of it as well kind of thing, stuck them into Suno AI, and then it played the song for him. It came up with 2 versions. That's what it does. It comes up with 2 versions from what I can gather. The first version was actually alright. It's something that you wouldn't mind listening to in the background kind of thing while you're at a bar or something. Or while you're in a cafe. That kind of thing. Now, I probably wouldn't be listening to it in a bar. I don't drink. I'm just going to put that one out there. So, you know, as slurred as my speech can sometimes sound from me sounding like a complete moron, it's not to do with alcohol. But yeah, you know, something you may hear at a cafe or something like that, or on the radio, on like Radio 2, for Brits out there kind of thing. The second one was crap. Same lyrics, it just didn't sound right. You know, it kind of ruined the theme of the song in a way. But there's that band though, the Velvet Sundown, appeared all over Spotify, getting a lot of playtime. It's causing some fun controversy, shall we say, and I had a good laugh at some of the stuff that Liam Donovan unearthed on it kind of thing. Everything is high priority. Ooh, hang on, except from that. Maybe I ought to highlight everything into high, just so I can get that other bit built. Whatever. We'll let them build this. This is just like one bit of metal each going into these, so they're not carrying a lot of material. So they should do it pretty quickly, and we should be able to watch it spread quite nicely like a mosaic tile, in a way. They need to start picking up these bloody rubbish piles, though. Maybe they'll only do that when that's built. But yeah, so the Velvet Sundown Band. Something sets me off straight away with that. That it's basically just Velvet Underground, which is Lou Reed's old band. And then all the songs are just AI generated. And they've got upset with people just nicking the name kind of thing to use as like parody accounts, pretending to be the band and stuff like that. It's like, well, hang on, you aren't actually them, and you've been made to change. But YouTube's changing a lot of things to do with AI and generative AI. Now, what I want to know is it going to completely wipe out all these shorts that do my head in kind of thing? Is it going to... well, I remember there was a YouTuber, was it Quebblecop? Never seen anything by him, don't really know. But didn't he make like an AI to represent himself and stuff like that? I also read about somebody who did a... There's a lot of those Reddit compilation videos as well. And I will shamefully admit that sometimes I will listen to some of them while I need some background noise. I remember I was off sick at one point, and I was not just sick, I then developed like pretty bad toothache kind of thing. I was unable to sleep for a couple of days because of the pain. This was like 5 years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah, it must have been 4 years ago, because 5 years ago, still lockdowns in the UK kind of thing. Well, I was still affected by lockdowns. But yeah, I remember listening to a couple of them, and some of them were fairly interesting, but it was the people who were posting on Reddit, which I don't like Reddit, I'm just going to put that out there. But some of the people were having interesting conversations, some of the boards and that can be alright, but you know, you take the rough with the smooth, I suppose. And they were talking about a lot of history and stuff like that. It was quite interesting. But the video had like millions of views. Got there very quickly. What effort did the people making the video put in? I mean, I know that all credit for the game here for Timberborn goes to the devs, but I'm designing the city and stuff like that. You know, I'm not doing a lot. I'm designing things basically, and not very well. I'll put that out there. I suck. But you know, gaming content has the creativity and stuff like that. People put into it. The people doing the game, people coming up with ideas, particularly with things like Timberborn, City Skylines, Planet Coaster. You know, ones with creative expression. More linear story ones and stuff like that, not quite so much. Like me playing Stray kind of thing, I would put that as a slightly less input from me in a way. In terms of what happened in the game was predetermined. I just played through it and not very well. Bear and Breakfast kind of in between, because that's a very story-driven kind of thing as well in a way, but you've got the creativity of the designs kind of thing. I'm not going to build myself up too much or drop myself down too much. I don't care. I know that I suck. At least I'm willing to admit that. But with these videos, with the Reddit ones, they just steal content. They take what other people have discussed. Right? So they take what other people have done and said, and then use AI voiceover kind of thing, like text-to-speech kind of thing, stick it in a video. I suppose some of them handpick what posts they're looking at, but not all of them. I read something on a Raspberry Pi forum kind of thing where they were talking about they literally just used the Raspberry Pi setup to scroll through looking for highly interacted with posts, and it would just scrape them, put them into folders for each subreddit kind of thing. That would also have an AI voice read. It would then just put up basically the text from the post with the AI voice read over it, and that's all it would do, and that would make videos for them. Which, yeah, clever that they built that kind of thing, and it's really clever that they made the thing to do that. So full credit that they made that, and they programmed it, although they may well have just nicked somebody else's programming kind of thing, but that is apparently very commonplace with projects like that. Fine. Alright. But for the videos, it is soulless. There's no person involved. And yeah, I know I am not necessarily a person that speaks that. I do sometimes listen to videos like that, which is pretty bad of me. Will they start picking up these bloody metal piles soon so I can put my smelters back on? I'm down to 60. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with all the generative AI kind of thing on YouTube, especially with the fact that a lot of workplaces are leaning into AI-driven performance and things, including stocks. I don't like it. I don't mean to be like a Luddite, but just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. It is going to negatively impact people's lives by taking their jobs away. And you may laugh and say, oh, you know, if your job's taken away by an AI, you must be shit at your job, but a lot of people, like, even if you're really, really good at your job, you can't necessarily get the job you want because there's somebody else just as good as you. And there is competition in higher value places, kind of thing. It's not necessarily your fault that you don't get a job like that, and then you end up in a job where you've settled for it, kind of thing, for the time being, because you can't get the other one because there's too much competition, for example, and then you end up getting made redundant because AI has taken that other job. And even some of the top jobs are being taken by AI now, which is frightening. I really don't like it, I have to admit. I'm going to go and turn back on some of those smelters. Probably just the original 3. Yeah, we'll put those ones on. Otherwise we're going to run out of metal soon. We do need to pick up all that metal though. Oh hey, we built that top bit. They have built that. Cool. Have they built the other one? Yeah, they have. Have they built that random power shaft that I left on the ground high prioritised? I high prioritised it because it's... Yeah, corner recess. Nice. They built that one. I want the ones on the... Oh yeah, because we just added a bunch of jobs back in, haven't we? Or... We did have a bit of a death wave. We only added like 3 jobs back in. So that number tanked. We did have a death wave though. Basically out of metal now. Maybe I need to add the other ones in then. But I do want them to pick up all of this bloody rubble. And yeah, some of it's logs. Instead, some of it's planks. We're alright for planks. We had a bit of a plank crisis earlier. But, we're doing pretty good on them now. I'm going to stop ranting about AI now as well. I don't... It's something that intrigues me, but it's not something I like very much. Like games like Suck Up and that, I think, are a pretty cool idea. You know, it could be useful for making some games way more interesting, way more difficult, for example, by having AI in there, kind of thing. Yeah, construction lacks materials. Yeah, we've got no metal, and we've got like hundreds of these bloody things left to do. That's why I was hoping they would have picked up the metal that's just sitting on the floor. But no, apparently they're not going to do that anytime soon. It's 8 there, 14 there, another 8 there, 6 there, 8 there, 8 there with a bunch of planks and logs as well. Why will they not do this? Don't make me come down there. Because while they're struggling with that, and struggling to understand that if I ask them to pick something up, maybe they should pick it up, they might come back down here and start blowing up more of this. That is a long, long, long walk. We just had a couple more die of old age there as well. Now when they get down to this point, I'll let them blow that side part off, but... God, another one died of old age. I want to get around here eventually, but it's not a big deal yet. And then of course they can carry on down here. This is a huge distance though. Look, metal is going up a bit. Maybe they are collecting it. We'll come around here. Whee! That's back into the centre of town. So when this is all done and things like that, we've got the ziggurat in place. I will of course do a full flyby of the town as it's built. But for now, I feel like we've not really accomplished anything, and I've just rambled about crap this episode, so I apologise for that. But you can see some of the progress we've made, some of the ideas that we've got going forwards. I will let this floor then be built out, and I will get the... Should I get the slalom in between episodes, kind of thing? We'll have to get the metal supplies back up and everything like that as well, to be fair. So I may just do some more of the tunnels in between. No, we do need to get this done. Yeah, so I'll build up a little bit more kind of thing on this building between episodes. I'll let that happen. For now, I'm going to say take care, catch you all later. Bye for now.